Have you ever looked at a woman and thought to yourself, what does she really want? And not what she says she wants, not what society claims she should want. I mean, what she truly craves deep inside, behind the smiles, the silence, and sometimes the contradictions. Well, here's the truth. Most men will go their entire lives never unlocking this mystery, because the real desires of a woman aren't taught, they're felt, they're hidden, and they're rarely spoken. But today, I'm pulling back the curtain. Many men are taught that if they chase hard enough, stay persistent, and outdo the competition, they'll win a woman's heart. But what most don't realize is that women don't truly want to be hunted, they want to be chosen. This difference is subtle but powerful. A woman doesn't want to feel like she's just another name on a list, a challenge in a game, or a prize waiting at the end of a race. She desires to be recognized for her uniqueness, to feel as though a man looked at everyone else and still saw something special in her, something so aligned with who he is that it made her the natural choice, not the default. When a man approaches her with that kind of intention, not chasing, not begging, but calmly selecting, it sends a message that resonates deeply with her feminine core. Chasing often comes off as desperate or performative. It places the man in a position where he's trying to prove himself, which inadvertently makes the woman feel like an object or goal. But when a man operates from a place of confidence and clarity, when he knows who he is and what kind of woman aligns with his values and energy, and then chooses her, not because he needs her, but because he sees her, it creates an emotional safety that invites her to lean in. This kind of energy says, I don't need to run after you because I know your worth, and I know mine. It's deeply attractive. It makes a woman feel not just seen, but understood. And in today's world, where so many women are used to being approached in superficial ways, being genuinely chosen hits differently. It allows her to relax into the interaction, to stop evaluating whether she's being played, and to open up to the possibility of authentic connection. That's the difference between temporary interest and lasting desire. She wants to feel like she's not part of a chase, but part of a conscious decision. And when a man embodies that mindset, he instantly separates himself from the crowd, not by being louder or flashier, but simply by being intentional. What most men never realize is that for a woman to fully open herself, physically, mentally, and emotionally, she must first feel safe. Not safe in the traditional sense of being protected from harm, but emotionally safe. Emotional safety is the unseen foundation of female desire. It's what allows her to express herself without fear, to be vulnerable without shame, and to connect without putting up walls. You can be charming, successful, attractive, or even sexually appealing. But if a woman doesn't feel emotionally safe around you, her desire won't go deep. It will stay surface level, polite, maybe even a little flirty, but never truly uninhibited. Emotional safety is created when a man is consistent in his actions and words, when he listens without rushing to fix or judge, and when he is present, not distracted or emotionally unavailable. It's built in small moments, the way you react when she's being emotional, how you respond to her fears or insecurities, and whether she feels she can be herself around you without putting on a mask. When she knows you won't weaponize her vulnerability, when she senses that she doesn't have to hide or shrink, that's when her real femininity starts to bloom. That's when she lets go and stops protecting herself. And the result, a deep, intimate, magnetic desire that cannot be faked or forced. Unfortunately, many men try to bypass this emotional layer and go straight to physicality, not understanding that for most women, the body follows the heart. Without trust, there is no depth. Without depth, there is no lasting attraction. So the next time you wonder why a woman pulls back even when things seem to be going well, ask yourself, does she feel safe around me? Does she feel free to be soft, emotional, and vulnerable? If the answer is no, that's where you need to start. Because once emotional safety is present, everything else flows more naturally and more passionately. There's a quiet truth most women carry but rarely speak out loud. Many of them secretly long to let go, to surrender, to stop being strong all the time. But here's the catch. They can only do that when they're with a man who leads from a place of emotional depth and clarity. In a world where women are constantly required to lead, manage, organize, and protect themselves, the desire to relax into someone else's grounded energy becomes incredibly attractive. But it's not just about being assertive or dominant. A woman doesn't want to surrender to control. She wants to surrender to calm confidence, to a man who knows who he is, stands on solid ground, and leads not from ego, but from presence. This kind of man doesn't need to puff his chest or constantly prove his worth. He simply embodies it. His stillness speaks louder than force, and in his presence, a woman can finally put down her emotional armor. She can stop micromanaging, stop anticipating threats, and just be. That's what ignites her feminine energy. It's not submission in the traditional sense. It's a voluntary release of emotional responsibility because she feels safe in your direction. And when she feels that, her desire multiplies. She begins to lean into her sensuality, her softness, her emotional expression, not because she's being forced to, but because you've created the space for it. This is what true masculine leadership does. It invites her back to herself. Unfortunately, many men misunderstand this dynamic and either try to dominate through force or become passive, hoping to win her over by being agreeable. Neither works. What she truly desires is a man who can lead with depth, not just react, but respond. Not just provide answers, but also hold space for uncertainty. When you embody that energy, she doesn't just like you. She yearns for you because you've given her a gift that's increasingly rare in today's world, the freedom to finally rest in her feminine. It might come as a surprise, but one of the most overlooked truths about female desire is this: women are more drawn to mystery than they are to answers. In a society obsessed with clarity, transparency, and laying all the cards on the table, mystery has become undervalued, but not by the female psyche. Mystery doesn't mean secrecy. It means having layers, having a life outside of her, and having depths that aren't immediately accessible. It's about being intriguing, not in a performative or manipulative way, but in a way that suggests you are not fully known, and that's okay. Women desire a man who keeps them mentally and emotionally stimulated, someone who isn't constantly explaining himself, but invites curiosity. When everything about a man is obvious from the beginning, her imagination switches off. But when he holds something back, not out of fear or detachment, but out of groundedness, her mind begins to wander in his direction. She starts to wonder about him, think about him, ask herself questions, and it's in that mental engagement that desire begins to deepen. The imagination is a powerful tool in female attraction, and it thrives in spaces where things are not overly explained. Too much clarity too soon flattens the dynamic. Instead of trying to prove your worth by sharing everything at once, let your actions speak. Let your interests unfold naturally. Let her discover you over time. This slow unraveling keeps her engaged, keeps her interested, and allows her to feel like she's exploring something real rather than being sold an image. When a man lives a full life, with purpose, hobbies, friendships, ambitions, and a sense of direction, it automatically creates a sense of mystery. He's not always available, he doesn't overshare, and that distance, when mixed with emotional presence, becomes incredibly attractive. It says, I'm open, but I'm not yours by default. And that space, that gap between what she knows and what she wants to know, That's where female desire lives. One of the most misinterpreted dynamics in modern relationships is the difference between being needed and being wanted. Many men believe that women desire to feel needed, to be someone's missing piece, to provide emotional support, or to fill a void. While this can create attachment, it rarely creates desire. What a woman truly longs for is to be wanted, to be chosen not out of lack, but out of fullness. She doesn't want to complete you, she wants to complement you. There's a difference. When a man is dependent, when he needs her to feel whole, it places pressure on her. It subtly turns the relationship into a responsibility, which over time drains attraction. But when a man has his life in order, when he's emotionally stable and self-sufficient, and still looks at her with desire, not because he needs her, but because he wants her, it changes everything. That kind of desire is magnetic. It makes her feel seen, admired, appreciated, not for what she does, but for who she is. She becomes a woman in his presence, not a caretaker, not a therapist, not a savior, just a woman, and that shift allows her to step into her most feminine, attractive state. She doesn't want to feel like she's rescuing you from loneliness or emotional chaos. She wants to feel like being in your life is a bonus, not a burden. When you show her that you're whole without her, but enriched with her, she begins to desire you in a way that's emotionally expansive. She doesn't want to be the reason you're okay. She wants to be the one who takes your already okay life and makes it unforgettable. That's the difference between attachment and attraction, and it's a line many fail to draw. But once you understand this, you stop smothering her with need and start pulling her in with intention. The deepest desires of a woman are rarely spoken aloud. They're not found in textbooks, online quizzes, or casual conversations. They're felt. They're hidden beneath layers of social conditioning, personal fear, and unspoken emotion. And because of that, they're often missed by men who are only listening to what she says and not watching how she responds. Female desire isn't a checklist. It's a response to energy. A man who understands this knows that showing up with presence, emotional intelligence, and authenticity is far more powerful than clever lines or external success. Women are intuitive beings. They feel when a man is grounded, when he's clear on his values, and when he respects himself. That kind of energy speaks louder than any words. It creates a silent tension, a magnetic pull.